I want to go into the DEI conversation. So, okay, so Al Sharpton has a nickname called Chicken George, and Judge Joe Brown gave him that name, Chicken George. If you guys ever saw the television series Roots and Chicken George, he was the one who, I think he bought his freedom by fighting chickens. His name was George.
Yes, ma'am. Correct. Yep.
So Chicken George, his scamming ass, created or started this economic blackout on February 28th. And I guess there's a list of stores, and of course, Target is at the top. And he recruits, Jamal Bryant and all these other scammers or whatever, alleged scammers. Let me say that. Ben Crump, all of them to push this economic blackout. Now, apparently, it's not just for Black people, but for all Americans, to not shop at corporations that eliminated their DEI program. Mind you, the DEI program was not helping Black people, people of color. If anybody got help, it was more of white women. But it's not even about helping a particular group. Corporations just got millions of dollars to train their employees on diversity, um, equality, or whatever. So it was all a big grift. It was a money grab. I'm not going to stop shopping at Target. Target, before this whole DEI came into existence in 2022, 2023, Target was putting Black business owners' products on their shelves before George Floyd. And
Well, let's make sure here. You're saying equity, not equality.
yeah, equity. I know the E meant something. Equity. Um,
Yeah, I think he highlighted that because there's a major difference, Dana. Equity stands for something that's communistic, right? Where you're righting the wrong, a place for everything in its place. And equality means that you've actually earned the position, that you actually put it. It was merit based, and there's an equal representation, an equal opportunity to gain the position, as opposed where equity, where you're artificially putting the person in that position.
Thank you for the correction. And that makes sense. So, what is it? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yeah. But anyway, Target was putting Black business owners' products on their shelves before 2020. Now, and maybe it increased afterwards, but 2020 with the George Floyd, DEI wasn't even in existence. So my whole point is, why are you boycotting? If you feel as though a corporation is displaying discriminatory practices, whether it's discriminatory on your gender, your race, your sexuality, where are the lawsuits? You cannot have a boycott and no lawsuits. You cannot have a boycott and no legislation, public policies written up to be presented to your local politicians to pass, whether it's on a state level or federal level. Where are the public policies? Where are the lawsuits? Because they always want to reference, well, they boycotted the bus boycott for a whole year, but they also had lawsuits going on. So even when Dr. Martin Luther King encouraged Black people to boycott Wonder Bread because that corporation at the time didn't want to hire Black people, they still had lawsuits going on in the background. So where are the lawsuits? There are none. So you want us to not shop, but shop the day before, but not shop on this day. And that's how you know it is all BS. So I'll open the floor. Who want to go first? Go ahead, Indy, because I know you itching.
Yeah, he had his hand up. I want to hear it.
Yeah, I had my hand up because I wanted to ask Black Idaho because he brought up reparations. Did he think that all of the money that I guess Doge is saving us and all the money we're taking back from these other countries, like have you seen any Republicans say we're gonna take that money and give Black Americans their reparations? Like I wanted to ask that since he brought it up like that. But
Okay, can I,
Let's give
I
him,
mean,
yeah, let's
yeah,
give him a
hold
chance
on,
to answer.
real quick. Hey, that's a great question. And here's my thing to any Republican, anyone thinking or out here listening to that statement right there. I want you to know that reparations to the non-immigrant descendants of the American Holocaust, Black Americans would be the greatest investments in America could ever make. You know why? Because Black Americans don't have another continent. We only spend our money here. So once we spend our money here, we get to go after Africa for reparations. We're gonna spend that African money here. We get to go after Spain, because we're gonna spend that Spain money here. We get to go after the French. We get to go after the Dutch. We get to go after every group of colonizers here. And I know that scares a lot of people, but I want people to know that it's all in America. That money is gonna be it's gonna make America the greatest powerhouse. You know why? Because I was about to drop the M-bomb. Oh, I had to remember you on YouTube. I just wanted to say that Black Americans have been so patriotic to this nation. And I think that we don't I think it's a label thing. See, when you talk to Republicans, they want to make sure when you're paying someone, they want to make sure the money going to the right person. And I want y'all to know reparations is not for all Black people. And first off, in my mind, there's no such thing as all Black people. It's only Black Americans are the only Black people on planet Earth because that's what we were classified under because of what we went through and our identity was stolen. And that's why we are Black Americans. Everyone else get to be wherever they are. They get to be Somalia, blah blah blah, Nigeria, every that's who they are. And what we are in America is who we are, and our lineage goes back here, and we've always been patriotic. So I want to say to answer that question, reparations to Black American would be the greatest investment. Well, one of the greatest investments that America could ever make. And I think white American and other people need to get on board on that and understand that. Look, when we go out there, all the things that's owed to us, it's going to help out every single group that is still standing in America if you're not deported already. And I'll mute the mic there right there.
yeah, well, you really didn't answer. I mean, all that sounded great, but my question was, what
I think
Republicans,
well
what
because
Republicans have
they
you
want to know
seen?
they want to know who they're gonna pay. And I think that Black Americans, we're in a very weird situation where it's all these names everyone's trying to go under and all these monikers and all this
No,
other
I
stuff.
think
Is they need
we
to
made
know
it
who they want to
very
play.
clear. I think we made it very clear who is owed. And it's very clear who is owed. I asked you.
Respectfully, sir,
No, no, no. You
you're
respect.
trying to give your money to Ukraine. So why you even
No,
caring
no.
about some?
I never
What is
said
you
I
talking
agree with
about?
that. I never said I agree with that. I never said that. I'm actually against that. But anyway, my question was, what Republicans have given you the inclination that any of this money is going to go to our reparations? That was my question.
The top Republican
Who?
who's currently in the overall seat.
Who?
He wanted to sit down with Black Americans, but
I ain't never heard him mention the word
it
reparations.
was all these boulets in the way of us trying to speak
Show me where he
with Trump.
mentioned
It was so
reparations.
many. Look, it's not going to be under Trump. I mean, it's not going to be under reparation. We might have to name it something else. A lot of people was coming with different platinum plans and other plans and all this other stuff. It might not be under the name reparations, but it's going to come when we get to talk to him. But every time we get people like you who act scared and start doing some weird shucking and
No,
jiving
you
in front of
started
these folks,
cheering for
and
statues. That was the
no,
problem.
no, no,
It wasn't
sir.
me.
We don't know
It
what they were
wasn't
doing.
me. I
Wait,
wasn't in
wait,
the
wait,
room
wait,
because
wait,
I
wait.
would have asked for it.
We don't know what those Black Americans were doing when they was over there celebrating in the
Oh,
White House. We don't know
well,
who
they
got to
should have
talk to
told us
him.
then. Well, they should have told us
What?
then.
Wait. You never can.
All I saw him
The
doing was
Democrats.
cheering
Wait,
about the
wait.
statues. That's all
All
I
right,
heard him say.
Indy. The Democrats have been in power for goddamn 18, 16 years, and you ain't never
This
come at them
ain't
like
about
that.
Republican or Democrat. I asked you a
It
question.
is because your talking points are so
No,
defeated. You sound defeated,
But then you
man.
no,
asked him a
I'm
question
asking
about
you a
the
question.
Republican. You asked him a question, Indy, about a Republican something.
Yeah, I asked him since he brought up reparations and all this money that we taking back from all these countries and all of this money. I asked him I said, where are the Republican plans to use this money to pay us our reparations? Like
But that's not how it works.
who in the Republican Party is promoting us getting our reparations?
But
I
that's
mean,
not how. But yeah,
but
there's no one in the Republican Party that have that their constituents are majority black, so they don't represent Black America because we don't vote them in our community to go to the Congress and represent us. We vote Democrats. So
So
the
so
question,
what were
wait a
all the
minute,
black
slow
people
down, wait,
doing at the
stop.
White House
Hold
then?
on,
Wait,
let her talk,
let me
Captain.
stop. Let me ask you. Let me say this. So the question you should be asking is which Democrat or how many Democrats, because that is who Black people vote to send to Congress to represent them. So you can't ask a
No,
Republican
Wait.
see,
when they don't represent
that's
Black
the thing.
Americans.
Can I chime in?
But see, that's the thing though. Whoever's in office represents all Americans, and if you got all these
But we're
people up here,
talking.
Wait,
yeah,
dude,
yeah,
that's
but
not
Dana,
been
you
the
got
way. The
people
last
up here.
administration proved that that's not the way they're doing it. The last administration proved that they don't give a fuck about the people who've been here and they want some new
Yeah,
people
stop
here.
with the F
I'm
bomb.
so sorry. He working me
I
up, man.
know.
No,
I'm
Well,
sorry.
mute up for a
You
second.
got
Mute up for a second,
people
Black
up here
Idaho.
that's saying that we should all.
Who pressed the mute button? Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, everybody take a breath because it's too much bickering back and forth. And Indy, you ask an Idaho a question and then you kind of start a back and forth with someone. Like, just, I want you to actually speak to the topic. Black Rock and Grefos. I don't know how to pronounce it. So go ahead, El Hotep.
What's up, you guys? How's it going, Dana? Um, what's the topic right now? I know we were talking about Vladimir Zelensky and JD Vance and stuff because I did want to address something that Plot did say, but I don't want to go drag the conversation any
So
longer to
here's the
what.
thing. So yeah, so the first hour we talked about, what is that? Are you on speaker?
Oh yeah, hold on. Yeah.
Yeah, go off speaker because the audio is sound a little janky.
Yeah, if you're not speaking, you should just mute up, and then you can speak when you're going to speak.
I would like to rebuttal. Y'all kind of let me get beat up and then you told me to mute up, but
Yeah,
whatever.
no. You could rebuttal. But El Hotep, you still there? Wait. Okay, you're muted. So we talked about JD Vance, Trump, and Zelensky in the first hour, and now this hour is about Chicken George, DEI boycott. Now, under the DEI economic boycott, yes, race and all that kind of falls under it basically. It's just that I'm not trying to go down a reparations rabbit hole because reparations is a whole space topic of its own, but referencing it is one thing, but I'm not trying to go down a reparations rabbit hole. But the DEI conversation, yes, you are going to talk about discrimination and race or whatever. It's under that category. So let me, El Hotep, you still there?
Yeah. Yeah. Is that better now?
Yeah, much better.
Okay. All right. So we're kind of talking about the boycott now,
The boycott.
or just free. Okay. Uh, I think it's not really going to be effective. If we're going to honestly going to do a boycott, we should have done this the whole month. Um, and I don't know why we wasting our time listening to Al Sharpton. This guy was a former federal informant. So I mean, that being said, why is he even relevant? Um, so I think it's really a waste of time. It's just him trying to showboat and look relevant. If we were going to do this, we should have done this in the beginning of February. And this honestly, we should be looking at supporting black businesses and grassroots businesses more. But it's just a waste of time. I honestly think Al Sharpton is just trying to stay relevant.
Yeah, and he's also being paid to do what he's doing because I'm pretty sure Costco's cutting him a lovely check because you're not going to sit up here and stomp for Costco's the way he was without those C-suites or the board, the what is it, the board of directors cutting you a check or putting you in on something. So it's all for show and it's all for profit. That's why he's full of shit.
Dana, I think he also got paid I think it was 50 million by the Harris administration for everything he did on behalf of them going on shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, he got $500,000 to interview Kamala Harris, and he gets a hefty salary from MSNBC for hosting the show, his radio
But
show,
what is he pushing though?
the
I mean,
National
is he just
Action
pushing it just
Network, his
because of the end of?
organization. He
Oh, so
pushes
he's
his
pushing
organization.
his network. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So he's doing his typical. Okay, yeah, okay. So I mean, yeah, I don't think it's really gonna be effective. I think if they're using him and he's fine with that as long as he's getting paid. I haven't really seen too many people giving it too much attention anyway, so I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think that's gonna be that effective.
Okay. Um, the black and was it the black and rock and GRE, and then I'm gonna swing back to you, Black Idaho.
Yeah, I don't know how we got derailed, but anyway, when it comes down to Al Sharpton, his funny old perm wearing ass, I don't know. I feel like it was just a coon session. It was a way to kind of distract us and direct our energy towards something the Democratic Party wanted in the name of DEI, which don't even really benefit black people. So I don't even know why they continue to try to push that notion anyway. And
What happened? You were done?
He cut off.
Oh, you muted yourself, the black.
He might have got a phone call or
Oh yeah,
something.
probably. Okay, who? Rock. Go ahead, Rock.
So you kind of stole some of my thunder, Dana, but that's just because you're good at what you do. Um, when you said I'm pretty sure Al Sharpton is getting paid for it, and then as hard as he was pushing for Costco, as hard as he was stomping for Costco, I mean, that's all I was gonna say. Like this guy don't move unless it's a bag in it for him. And yeah, I mean, it's not effective. It's so see through. It's so astroturf. It's the opposite of grassroots, and it's amazing to me. Like, and you can correct me. Does he still have a show on MSNBC? And if so, how is he surviving when they've cut pretty much like 70% of the talent that got hired around the same time he did? Joy Reid, Melissa Harris Perry. Now, I'm not stopping for any of these people, but Al is surviving all the cuts and thriving. And, he's geriatric. I mean, we're talking about an octogenarian, and he's, surviving like he's a Spartan. So, I mean, the corruption is apparent, it's obvious. And I don't, I'm not trying to spark the previous conversation. The statement I'm about to make now is more about political savvy more than anything. I don't really see the association. I understand what you were saying about how black people have been the party. I mean, have been the base for the Democrats. I don't dispute that at all. My statement is saying, or the statement I want to make is to say, we have to be more politically savvy to support the policies of a party that will forward any agenda that we have or that will push us forward no matter the party. I know I just scrambled that up. I'm sorry, the syntax is everywhere. Um, or it's horrible. We have to be politically savvy enough to say, okay, the Republicans have these bills that will benefit America in this way, as opposed to like the LGBTQIA bills that the Democrats were passing that are not as beneficial to America. And maybe I think Plot was the one that says he has a military background, even though I vehemently disagree with some of his views. he would know, like, in any war situation, there are no permanent allies. You know, you ally for a specific operation or target, and then you move on. You know, your ally today may be your enemy tomorrow. This is apparent all throughout history. You can just look at the previous world wars, you know, and so we have to be politically savvy. That was my whole thing. And when I say we, I mean Americans, but being a foundational black American, I mean us specifically. But yeah, we just have to be more politically savvy. I mean, man, Elizabeth Warren was a Republican, if I'm not mistaken, at some point. Like, we just have to be savvy enough to follow the policies that benefit us. And as far as the DEI boycott, yeah, it's a no go.
Hey, just a question to you, real quick, before you go. Elizabeth Warren is a different. And I'm just curious, which do you more, which do you more align with? Do you align with the Republican side, where it's America first, with all of its people, regardless of race, religion, or creed, or is it the Democrat side, where it's bring in everybody from the outside world? Just curious.
So I think most blacks in America, most black people in America, most FBAs, foundational Black Americans, or American descendant of slaves, however you identify, I would say FBA myself. I think that we are conservative minded. Like when you go into like in my grandma's house, you know, just for the sake of the conversation, use the colloquial terms. Like, if there was somebody of an alternative lifestyle, she might be like, you know, that boy funny, or something like that. It wasn't necessarily that it was looked down upon, but it was just like, this is not the norm. This is not the status quo. So I would say, you know, those have been values in Black America. You know, if I'm saying my grandma, I mean, she's passed now, but this lady I'm talking about was born in 1918. You know, she was so old, she was like, I remember when my town got the first car. And I was like, Grandma, did people have cars? She was like, hell no, that was for rich niggas. I'm sorry. But that's the way she spoke about it, you know? So if her values have been that way, and she was born in 1918, then most Black Americans are conservative by nature. But the problem, and I'm addressing your question, I'm sorry about this roundabout nature. The problem is that you have these polar shifts in the party. And that's why I say you have to be politically savvy, because at one point, you know, the Republican Party resembled what the Democratic Party used to look like, you know, kind of Clintonish, you know, but and then okay, the Dixiecrats would have been what most people consider the Newt Gingrich Republicans to resemble, or something around that time. And then you had, you know, the Republicans who were more liberal minded. And then you have this shift where the Republicans became uber conservative, and then the Democrats became super liberal. And it's really just all party politics. It's the gamification of politics. So I don't really look at it in that way. I will tell you, to answer your question directly, Plot. Today, I would say my values and the values of most FBAs and most Americans in general align with the Republican Party. Not completely, but I would say today the Republican Party most resembles what Americans would like America to look like going forward. But again, this is where you have to be kind of politically savvy. I'm sorry if that was long winded.
No, no, that's fine. But what if I told you that Lyndon Johnson said he's going to have these N words voting Democrat for the rest of their life because of what he did for the Democrat Party? How would you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, I won't say we all are, but I think most of us who who study a little bit of history are aware of LBJ's background, and I, that was just again more of the gamification of politics. It was the passing of the civil rights bills is what did that, but we have to remember as well that like Black Americans kind of put the American government into a position where they had to take action. This is during a time where they were televising children being bit by dogs, hosed down. You got your Bull Connors. I mean, it was a horrible to the immediate or not immediate, but the recent assassination of Dr. King. It was a horrible time for America optically. Yeah, I mean, the morality wise, it was definitely a horrible time for America. So I mean, it's not as if, again, this is where it comes into being politically savvy. I'm sorry, I'm not being, fully articulate about this, but it's just okay. Sure, that's what LBJ says, but today or the 2024 election, you had a shift in that in that voting pattern.
and and I'm not disagreeing with you, and I understand where you're coming from 100%. I think you're on the right track there, but the problem that we've gotten to now is that Democrat and Republican are such hot words that we are pushing ourselves to one side or the other, and we don't understand the history of where it came from, how we got there. And that's the only point that I'm trying to make right now, is that if someone said, and like LBJ said, as to your point, I'm going to have these N words voting Democrat for the rest of their life because he made a certain thing in Congress happen. I don't think that's fair. I think everyone is free to choose the way that they want their family to be raised, and if it's Republican or Democrat, that's on them. That's 100% in their category.
I like what Rock said too when he was talking about that most Black Americans are conservative.
No,
I
they
think that
they
is true.
are. And
Yeah.
to plot comment about Lyndon B. Johnson, it was it's that's more by word of mouth that he had said that. It's not written somewhere or there's no recording of it. Um, However, it's more so, and then too, listen, if people pick parties for their morals or whatever, have at it. But I don't pick a party that's more that aligns with my morals, because you cannot trust politicians. You cannot even trust your own government. So why would I pick a party based on their morals and values, because they don't have any? So conservative, not conservative, it doesn't even matter what party it is. If you're conservative, you're conservative. You could be a Democrat and you could be conservative. It's just that when we are talking about, Black people voting Democrat, they actually started shifting and voting Democrat under FDR because of the New Deal. That's when the shift started. It wasn't under Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson, by because helped he just because he signed it, Congress passed it, but he helped kind of facilitate Congress. And you did have Republicans. It was more Republicans during that time that signed on to it. It was bipartisan. There were a lot of Democrats who, majority of the Democrats did not support the Civil Rights Act of 1964, 1965 either. They did not. It was a good portion of Republicans that is not so much breaking party lines, but they supported it, and that's how it got passed. It was bipartisan. So black people, so if that was what he said, to some degree he's correct, but it wasn't because of him. It was really because of our quote unquote black leadership at the time. And then when you look at our um politicians, they were being, they were Democrat. The Congressional Black Caucus came into existence in the late 70s. And then you had these different public policies that was helping people in their state, in their district, that were Democrat, which was also, they were being funded by different Jewish organizations as well. Because who held majority of the wealth then? And people are forgetting about money. Sorry, money is a major role in getting public policies being passed in politics. Period. So who has the greatest war chest? Who's funding your war chest? If you have to have a banker, you have to have a banker. So who was Black Americans' banker, and who were these people aligning with? Some, it was a little bit of Republicans, but a majority these people were Democrats. So, and historically, Black people did feel like, and I would say, which is true, the Republican Party turned a blind eye. So they didn't necessarily vote Jim Crow in, but you didn't do anything to stop it. So um, Dr. Henry Clark, he said Black people sat in the sun for 10 years, and that 10 years was during Reconstruction. Because then after that, Jim Crow was ushered in, but the Republicans allowed the federal troops to leave the South and let the Southern states do whatever the hell they want to do with their public policy and their laws, because of the Great Compromise. I believe it was the election of Hayes and someone else. And it's like, okay, if you want to be president, then you got to remove your troops, your federal troops from the South. And so the Republican, and then after that, even on a local level, there were Republicans who did not step in to challenge these Democrats against public policies that were strictly going against Black Americans. So when you said, you know, what has the government done for Black Americans? Well, they haven't done a lot. They have done the least for us. But when you have illegals coming in, let's fast forward to 2025, which is why 20% of the Black American population voted Republican, because it's like, okay, put reparations to the side. You giving illegals who are not citizens this money, and these people are coming into my city, which is a sanctuary city, and they getting all these benefits that my child and my wife or the single mothers are not getting, and the homeless are not getting, and the mental health are not getting. That's a major problem. So yeah, so anyway, um I don't know who Gray is, so I'll go to the Black, and then Black Idaho. I know you want to respond.
Yeah, they booted my ass earlier. I don't know what happened. But what's up? We still on the DEI, or we don't move
No,
on?
we on the DEI.
I done got discombobulated. I'm sorry. But yeah, uh Al Sharpton, he was doing a finesse for the Democrats, and it looked like it wasn't working. Cause I'm still trying to understand, like, was we supposed to boycott them for the last day of Black History Month? Why, I want to know, why was it for the whole month? I think it would have made a better impact and made a better statement than just this one day. I don't know. It's kind of backwards to me. If this is the type of old school uh, boycotting they was doing back then, we wouldn't have got nowhere. So I don't know if he learned properly from the elders, but he bringing us some diluted game that we don't need, and we need to just retire, because yeah, he it's not working for us. I see why he still got the perm and he still stuck in the '60s, but we do have to remember that he was informant. He was trying to get, you know what I'm saying, the great Don King caught up in Mike Tyson. So you never trust a person that deny being a snitch and say he was just I forgot how he said it, but he said he was doing something good, and I don't think that was the proper way he was supposed to label that. He was basically snitching for some paper. But y'all land there.
Yeah, well, and then let me kind of reset it a little bit more, because it's not so much us talking about Al Sharpton, because he ain't that goddamn important and he's not that effective. It's just that Al Sharpton, these pulpit preachers, pulpit pimp preachers, they use black people, they use black suffering, right, as their excuse to gain power and money and political connections. And that is the problem that I have with Al Sharpton. You're right. You wait till February 28th, and then you're saying, and then we're gonna plan the big one in April. Like, where are the think tanks for economic mobility for the youth, for the adults? Where are the think tanks for mental health in our communities? So if you're not, again, if these people are not talking about actual solution based policies, I don't want to be a part of it. So go ahead, Black Idaho.
I might check 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to go out and feed some chickens and stuff like that. Yeah, God bless America. And my rabbits and stuff. Uh, I want to say Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson are kind of the reason why Black Americans are kind of in the predicament we're in. They've been the worst thing to happen to Black people, Black Americans, since the dawn of time. Uh,
Why you throw Jesse Jackson in there?
oh, thank you for asking. I was hoping someone would, because he called us. He called Jesse Jackson broke my heart when Martin Luther King died in Tennessee, and he went over and wiped his blood off and wiped it on his suit like he was there doing something. Jesse Jackson broke my heart when he labeled us African American,
He didn't
and that's
label
why
us African Americans.
he kind of did, and that's why Plot and everyone else kind of used that. I think, and that's what I was going to say now. Plot is very offensive to call Black Americans African American and Africans. It's very offensive. You know, so many documents. You seem like a smart guy, Plot, and there's so many documentations that prove that Black Americans are our lineage here in America is deeper than just being some basic African, and it's kind of offensive to call us that. So when you say African American, you're kind of trying to make us some sort of immigrant class. We're not an immigrant class in America. And I also wanted to say to Indy too. Sorry, and Dana and Peter, this is a great space. And I'm sorry when I said reparation, I didn't know that was going to trigger everyone. Dana, I did not know that was going. I'm so sorry. I just, I love I love being Black American. So and I know what my worth is. So I'm sorry that offended folks. But I want to say to Indy, you host space. I hope that you can send me an invite to any space you have, and I'm willing to debate you on any topic that you would like. And I hope that you hold me on to that. I would love to debate you. But then I will, and I'm gonna close right here. Yes, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, all those folks used to hang out with Donald Trump. You know, so when people like to use all this old racist and calling white people racist and acting all fearful, and it's just very weird and defeated because they don't know American history. And also plot. And this one plot, you seem like a smart guy, so it was kind of offensive when you said something about going back to Libya and all this stuff. If you knew American history, you would know that that's why they sent black folks to Libya because they didn't want to pay us reparations in 1822. We've been begging and hoping for that for hundreds of years, sir. And also in 1847 is when Libya got liberated. Did you know that they were killing all the black folks who went over there? They got massacred. So when you use all these terms, I hope you just know what you're talking about. Um, it just sounds really I try to be America first, but then when you come and say things like that, I hear the passive aggressive racism in you, so I want you to know that you know it,
Hey,
you,
I got a question for
you, okay.
you. Heard of the 6888?
What?
6888. Have you heard of it?
Everybody say no real quick because no one fucking heard that shit.
No,
Yeah,
yes. Who was
absolutely
that
have.
that was speaking?
because of
That was
major.
me. I
Yeah,
apologize.
can you please mute up? And yes, I've heard of it, and Tyler Perry just did a movie on it.
Yes, and do you know where that movie came from?
What do you mean?
That's the ROTC battalion that I'm currently attached to. That's my battalion. So the movie that Tyler Perry just made, based off of a army officer that graduated from the battalion that I am currently attached to teaching at an HBCU, and you say that I have a form of racism in my soul, I find that very offensive.
Of course, everything Black Americans say to you folks, no offense. You know, I was on this American First, but then you went there, so now I have to really stand up for myself and my people. Of course, every time Black Americans stand up for themselves, it offends you folks. So I'm not gonna go there with you, okay? I'm gonna stay on topic because that's what Dana wants, right? Because everything I say to you folks, it kind of offensive. I say something about reparation, and it goes on this whole drag on situation and all this stuff. Well, you guys never say anything to the goddamn Jews, man. And the Jews only went through the Holocaust for 6 years.
Well, hold
You
on for
never
a
say that.
second, Black Idaho, because
Of course I'll hold on.
plot
Everything I do makes
plot
you want
didn't bring
to.
up reparations. It was actually Indy.
Dana with the data. Dana with the data.